Let's dive into today's office hours session. We have Arvind today with us. Arvind is going to answer all of your questions. He'll try to demo your questions. If you want us to, troubleshoot live in your apps, you can just share the URL of your screen and we can start from there. We place a kind of registration form for your questions. So we got some questions registered, and we're going to start with them. Arvind, we can start, I guess.
Hello, everyone. I'm Arvind from Draftbit first team. Thank you, Mr. for inviting me. Yeah, let's get started.
Let me just introduce the first question. Dennis was asking for he wants to have a conditional navigation. Actually, he is here, I guess. If you want, you can ask your questions directly to Arvind by yourself.
Yeah. Hi. Hello, everyone. Hey. Yeah. So the question was this. So I want to do the conditional navigation so that when a user when a valid authentication token exists, I want to take a user one route, and if the token is expired, I want to take her another route. I have implemented something in the app, and it seemed to be working up until the moment when the authentication token has expired. At this moment, the system crashed, and my app doesn't work anymore. So I wonder, I believe the reason being is that the conditional stop that I'm using is checking whether the authentication token exists or doesn't, and it doesn't respect the fact that the authentication token may exist but be expired. So I wonder if there's any way I can implement an easy fix to that problem without heavy custom coding.
Yeah, sure. So which backend are you using with your app?
Xana.
Okay, Xana. So yeah, that can be done. We won't require any custom code for that. Let me just quickly show you a demo with Xana. Okay, let me know once you can see my screen.
Yes,
it is visible now.
Okay, I'm going to create a demo app. Okay. Let's pull in one string from the template library. Let's say login string. Okay, so this is the string, and once we authenticate user, we are going to save the auth token in our device variable, and then when a user relaunch the app, we are going to check whether the token exists, and if it is a valid token, then only we are going to navigate to the next tree, maybe a home. And
exactly.
If auth token exists but it's not valid, we can add some logic to display some alert, or we can navigate to other screen conditionally. So let me show you demo for that. I just quickly open my demo. So this is in test app I have created already. So that's for my other project, sample project. So I'm going to use the login for this in our app. Just add the services here. Say backend and get the complete endpoint URL. Yeah. So I'll just add a login endpoint here. You can take the parameters from the Xano itself. Yeah. So we avoid any typing error. Okay, so this is a valid account. I'm getting the auth token back. And just so you know, we have an option of setting the auth token validity. I believe you have added some specific validity for the token for here. But if you set this as 0, when you are creating a token, it will make the token as infinitely valid. It will never expire. So if you do it as 0, then you won't have to check for the validity of token in your app. But
Yeah.
if you set some number, for example, say 2 days, 5 days, then in that case, we need to check the validity.
Yeah, that's I'm using the second scenario. So my expiration is a finite number, not 0. So
Okay.
say 14 days, whatever.
Okay, got it. So in that case, we will add the login here, and we will require another endpoint, which is auth me. So what auth me endpoint does is basically when you get any say, let me just get a token from here. So in auth me endpoint, it basically gives the user details. So when we pass on the auth token to this endpoint and run it, it gives us the details of the user from the user table. So in that case, when you are checking the validity, so on login screen, you will basically hit your auth me endpoint. Let me just add that quickly. And we will require a device variable to store the auth token once we have successfully logged in. So let's create that. And that auth token will be passed on as header with this auth me endpoint.
I think, sorry, Arvind, to interrupt you. So don't you have to put a value for the auth token variable?
I'm going to fetch it from the login endpoint response so that it's dynamic. I'm not going to make it static. for demo purpose.
Okay. Yeah, that should work.
Yeah. So, okay, in fact, like that's a good idea. To make it quicker, let's just take an endpoint, sample endpoint, and like that will make it more quick. Thank you, Maruk, for that. So I'm going to add a value for auth token here, which will save a time to hit a login endpoint and get the auth token and saving it to the device variable. And on login screen on focus, I'm going to hit this endpoint auth me. And we are going to log the response we are getting from auth me endpoint. We see we have got the response, and since this is a valid auth token, it is infinitely valid, never expires. We are getting this response.
Mm-hmm.
In case if it is expired, for example, we are going to create an auth token which has limited validity.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I'm setting it as 5 seconds. Of course, it will be longer in the real case, but just for demo purpose,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting an endpoint at auth token with shorter validity. I think it's getting the value since it was saved in the device variable. We might have to clean it once, or you can try setting it on on-screen focus itself to just clean it. See, so this new token, we are getting this error, which is the token is expired. So we can either read the logic that if our response of the auth me is getting us some value, for example, the value of ID, and based on that, we can put a condition here, if else. I'm just adding a condition if my response to the auth me endpoint contains a value for our ID, then we are going to navigate it to some stream, maybe a home screen or any other stream.
That's what I'm, Arvind, this is what I'm doing. Like I have a conditional stop
Okay.
in the navigation chain.
Mm-hmm.
So it checks if the authentication token length is 0 or not 0, exists or doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So that's the condition.
Yeah.
And
so that is just going to check whether auth token exists or not, but it's not going to check the validity of the token. But
right.
But by hitting the auth me, we are getting the response, and by reading that response, we get to know whether it is a valid auth token or not. So if it is giving a response or user details, that means it's a valid auth token.
Okay.
Then we can
That's simple. Okay, clear.
Yeah.
All good. All good. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. So you won't require any custom code for that.
Yeah. That's very simple. I don't know. Like I should have figured this out myself. That's thanks.
All right.
Look. Another minor question. So if I have, for my understanding, so now I have something set for expiration in Exano. So if I change this, say from 2 days to 0, which means to the infinite time, will this change come into effect automatically, or do I need to rebuild and republish the application? in Draftbit?
So if you change the validity of auth token, user will have to get that new auth token in order to meet the conditions. If user has already saved some auth token in the device variable, then it's not going to work, because it won't look for the new fresh token, and it will always follow the validity of the existing auth token. So you might have to build some logic that user get logout on next launch or something. So I believe you might require additional version of the app to clear the existing auth token, and they get the new auth token, which is infinitely valid.
Or
Just a question for just for clarity. I mean, does it really require rebuild or republish of the app? Because isn't authentication mechanism is usually handled, from server side, right? So if the token's validity is checked, for example, with let's say expiration time is reduced, so the change will apply to all tokens issued after the change, right?
Yes,
So
that's
for
correct.
already logged in users, their sessions will be valid until their current token expires. But if you increase the expiration time, so this might be affecting like already issued tokens maybe won't be extended. So this will
Yes,
only apply to new tokens issued after the change, right? So
that's
does that
correct.
really requires kind of republishing, Arvind? What do you think?
That really depends upon the logic what we have built. If we are checking just the length of the auth token and navigating user to home screen, then it will always check the length and will land the user on home screen, but they will be stuck on home screen because it will not fetch some data from the server, because the auth token is not valid. And if they don't manually go and log out, or if the logout functionality is not there, there is no way they are going to get the new auth token with new validity. So it depends on the use case. Either we can ask them to log out, and it should work on their new login without having rebuilt the existing application.
yeah, okay. Is there any way I can kind of force log out them remotely? Or not really, right? So that's what they need to do on the devices.
Yes, I think so. If there is no
Yeah.
such logic built in the application, then there is no way
Arvind,
to
excuse
force
me, just a suggestion.
Mhm.
If in Xeno you just delete the auth token from the users table, it means the person will be logged out, right?
We don't have any auth token stored in the user table.
Mhm.
Do we not?
So
That's not stored, that's just dynamically generated.
Another suggestion from me. I'm not sure if it would work though. So when so the tokens are created with a timestamp, right? So maybe we
Yes.
can if we can create kind of logic to combine those two information, and if we can change, let's say, timestamp for that specific user, then we can just make it invalidated.
But this would require the rebuild of the app, right?
Yes, that's right.
Which that's exactly what I want to avoid, if possible. So, but that's fine. I mean, understanding that is enough for me. So I don't have many test users, so that's not a problem to ask them to log out and log in again. In the meanwhile, I will implement the logic, Arvind, that you suggested, and rebuild and republish the app. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Maybe for the future version, you can create a logic in your application that you send some push notification from backend, which kind of logs out the users based on the data you are sending in the notification. You read that notification and navigate them to login screen by clearing their auth token. But yeah, for first time you will have to create the logic in the app and have to submit a new version or rebuild the version.
Right. Okay. So, and Romesa, just to make sure, the recording of this session will be available, right, on YouTube as usual. Cool.
Yes, sure. It
Excellent.
will be uploaded.
Thank you very much. I'm all good. Thanks, Arvind, Romesa.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for your questions. Yeah, great questions. Any other questions? Please, Gavin.
Hi, I'm just wondering, this is something I had, I put it in the forums and someone did help with it, but I'm still having a problem, and that's creating an event that will happen in the future, having it so that it can only be in the future. Because I've basically, what was recommended in the forums and what I've done is create custom code so that I can add hours to the date and time picker. The problem is that, well, I guess it works okay if I add so many hours that it goes into the next day. But I also want people to be able to make a plan for example, tonight. But if it is on today, if it's on the same date as today, even though I've set it to 2 hours ahead from the creation of the plan, people can still go into it. Yes, the date, they can't do an event for yesterday, but they can make it earlier in time than now. Would you, I can share my screen if it would make more sense.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Let's stop my screen.
While you do this, I had a similar thing to solve if you guys want to share real quick. So basically what I've done is for my app, there has to be some communities are available to interact with or do stuff with, and some are not launched yet. And I just have a separate screen that if a community is not launched, and then on the backend in Xeno, I have a date when it's available. So when a user tries to click on a community or whatever, the API call runs that checks if the date that is available is in the future or not. And if it's in the future, then it navigates to that, coming soon screen. And if it's already in the past, then it navigates to the actual event, in your case, screen on the community screen. So that's how I handled. I'm not sure if it's the same, but basically a date in Xeno, and when the user selects an event, it checks when if it's in the future or not, and then navigates to two different screens based on the outcome.
Yeah, because I do have things where I filter things from past and present. So there's a record of older events. This is more about actually creating events, like new events. So I've shared my screen, but now let's see if I can. If I look at the date and time picker here, where am I? So when we want to do it. So this is today, February the 21st, and it's currently here maybe 5:30 in the evening. So, I have the adding 2 hours. If I change that to 12 hours, it's going to put it into tomorrow. So basically now if I try to create an event, it will automatically go to tomorrow the 22nd. So that's fine. But if I do, I want to have it maybe at like 2 hours so we can create something for this evening rather than tomorrow. So here on the 21st, it's currently 17:24. So that's good. But here, I can still just change the time back to 2:24 this afternoon. Or even if it's PM, you can just switch it to AM. So if it's like 6 o'clock in the evening, you can switch that to 6 o'clock in the morning, which is already past.
I see. Is there a way to do it with built-in features? We have, I think, many experts here right now, by the way.
Yeah, I think we have done this using a small custom code which we pass in the minimum date. So yeah, but that does the same. we get the current date and time, and we pass it, and it should work. It's strange it's not working for you.
Well,
But
it's that if it's because obviously I have minimum date as now, but these are plans for the future, and they only show in feeds if they're in the future. If you know if you create something for now, it automatically goes into the past, and no one will be able to see it. So it needs to be now plus 2 hours, for example.
oh, I didn't get the last part. Can you please come again?
So it needs to be now plus some sort of minimum, for example, 2 hours or 3 hours. So that they can't even make an event for 1 hour from now, because that won't give enough time for people to see it and go to the event.
Okay. So maybe you can have an expiry date related to an event, which we can check, when we are fetching the events from backend, and we show the events which are going to be, happen in the future, will be displayed.
But
Will that work?
it's not about displaying, it's about creating. I've already got that in place for displaying events. But this is the problem, because if someone creates an event that's in the past, it won't display. Equally, if they create an event that is now, it won't display, because 1 minute from now, it's in the
Yes.
past, or 1 second from now, it's in the past. So it's more about in the actual time picker, the date and time picker. There is already, I've got logic here so that you cannot choose a date in the past. But if the date is today, you can choose a time in the past. So it needs
So
to
it
be
seems like there's something like with now, right? Because you have already set the minimum date for the date picker.
yeah, it's just to do with the actual time.
So when you create your event, why can't we, like, assume there's an API call that goes to the backend? Why can't you just check if it's the timestamp from the time that the person picked is in the future, and if it's not in the future, like return something like false, and based on this return key, display a message saying like, sorry buddy, you have to be in the future, or something like this. Like, using.
Yeah, that would be an option, definitely. It would still just be preferable if we could just make it so that you cannot create a future event in the past. It's kind of logical. You should not be able to do that.
Yeah, Marv, do you want to share something?
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. So first of thing, so the minimum date, as the field says, I think it is only considering the date. So from the now timestamp, it's just taking the date and it's disabling the past date and the calendar picker, but it is not putting any logic on the timer side. So what we can do, so if you go to the action panel, so the right after the panel, data panel, so you will see
for the so this is on the date
for the
right
date picker, yeah. So you do something on date change. So what you can do, you can add a custom function that takes the time and do that hours check. So you can do your check there, and if that makes your the function returns 2, then only you can set the event date time. Otherwise, you can just show something on the front end.
So sorry, would that be in here then, in the variable for setting for the time? So I think create the custom function and put that in the transform.
No, I think it should be a conditional stop. So your conditional stop will call the function with the new picker value, and that function will check. If the function returns 2, it will stop there. Like if it is in the if it is not in your time range, it will return true. So it will stop. It won't change the date. If it is not like if it's a valid date, it will return false and it will set the variable on your screen. Or if you can have an if and else, so the if will call the function and take the value of the response. If it is true, then you can save the value, or if it's false, you can show some feedback on the screen, like you can't choose that date, something like that. You can go either way.
Okay.
Marv, are we able to provide a kind of a sample custom function for Gavin later, maybe after that session?
Yep, I think I can create a quick function and use
Great,
it
that would
for
be great.
references. Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
then send it to Gavin.
Okay,
Would that
thank
be
you.
helpful?
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gavin. Okay, I think Mane has a question.
Hey, yes, I do. Let me share my screen. It will be easier to explain. Basically, I need to show a lot of images, and they take a bit long to display. I was wondering if there are any ways of rendering the display faster. On the web preview, it's actually pretty fast, even though there is a slight delay. But on the published apps, it actually takes like 2 seconds or more, which is too much for the users. So I'm thinking of how to optimize the rendering of the images.
So basically, you want to display some loading action, or you want it to fast loader?
I would love to increase the speed of loading the images.
Mm-hmm.
Or alternatively, at least have a loader going on.
Yeah, so for showing the loader, you can have a variable which you can set as true or false. So basically, when you hit an endpoint to fetch the data or the images from backend.
Actually, the perfect solution would be just rendering faster. So maybe we could start from there and keep this as a plan B.
Yes, got it. So
Thank you.
yeah, I think that really depends upon the size of images, and beside that, you can use pagination if you are fetching two heavy images and a lot of data, a lot of records.
I am using pagination already.
Okay. And what's the size of the images you are fetching from the backend?
That I do not know, but I have put, I'm using Xano and I have put this TPL bigger.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we can go to the file section and can check like how big those images are. Can you check to this menu on the left? There should be, just below the API section.
Yeah.
Yeah, below task, you can expand the next. Yeah, can you expand this and click on public files?
Sorry, which one? Public files?
Files, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you have quite big size images being fetched. So you can consider optimizing those images before you uploading it here.
How can I do that?
So from where you are uploading these images to your Xano using your mobile app, or
Yeah, using my mobile app. I have a function on this screen. Each time this button is hit, it takes the screenshot of the screen and sends to Xano.
okay, so you're using some custom code.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you can add some more condition to that. Send the optimized or compressed images while you are sending to backend, because if you use image picker or camera.
Is there a package you recommend I use? Because I tried with Resizer and like it wasn't working or something.
Yeah, so there can be multiple packages you can try to explore. I haven't used that recently, but Maruk, do you have any idea about that? Any packages you want to suggest?
Okay. I think I have investigated, and this is the one that actually worked perfectly. Yeah, I
Which
don't have
one?
any other knowledge. This image research package.
Oh, you have
This
used it and it worked?
Yep.
Okay. And what size of image would render basically instantly? I'm rendering 10 or 15 per page.
Yeah, I think that should be good. Like having 15 to 20 records should be good enough.
What size should I aim for? Do I need to resize it?
I don't think there is any recommended size, but yeah, maybe you can consider compressing it to around 1 MB, and it should be at least 50% faster already for you. But yeah, you can try checking that. 2.2 is for sure like quite big size of image to be rendered in a mobile device, and that will take some time.
By the way, I searched and I have found a library which is Expo Image Manipulator, and it has action resize. Maybe you can explore that library, that package as well.
So it works with Draftbit.
Yeah, as long as it works with Expo, you expect it to. Oh, CU has a suggestion, I guess. Hey, CU.
Yeah, I think it can help. I think the package she's using is already correct. I think it's a good package about image resizer. I think right now, based on what she said, is to capture the screenshot and then upload to Xano. But this package is support like you can resize the width and the height also, right? And can you show on the builder? Yeah, I mean the page you listing on the products.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, so probably you capture with the full width and height of the device, but probably when you show the app, it just have the height in the screen. So you can resize it to width divided by 2 and the height divided by 2, and the quality you can reduce it. Then you just upload that image. Then you can check on the Xano, the latest image. Then based on what Ivan said, it can be less than 1 MB. Then you can verify again about the performance. And right now you can control the pagination, right? Right now you fetch about 15. Maybe you can try with fetch by 5 image, and yeah, you try compress by with height and the quality to have, then you can verify the performance is going better or not. Yeah,
Okay, that's nice. Thank you.
yeah, no problem.
I'm going to try that, and if it still doesn't work, I'll come back next week, I guess. I do have another question if we have time.
Yes, you can ask.
It's difficult to explain though because it's on the paywall page and it doesn't render on Draftbit. And I need to disable my account, sorry. I really need to show to be able to explain. Come on, change the page. Okay, so basically this part where you see nothing contains three pricing options. And this button, when the user is supposed to click on one of those, and then this button is activated and it actually does the purchase. However, for the users, it's not very intuitive that they need to select one of these options. So I want to have a default variable to go into this start trial. And I somehow cannot set it up. I'm not sure if what I said was clear. Shall I elaborate?
Yeah, please. Please open this. What are you trying to set here?
Yeah, so it takes this purchase item and sorry. So it runs this function, and this function needs this parameter. And this parameter is only generated when the user clicks on one of these options. So I'm going to show you how it's generated. So for example, when it's pressed, it generates this variable, which is also connected to a list.
Okay.
So in principle, I would love to put, say, the 6-month value. This in itself is an object, actually. So I would love to save this as a default to the screen.
Okay.
But I don't know how I can get this from, because the only time I actually see this object is if I put an alert on the page and I publish the page and I publish the app with the alert. But from there, I cannot copy anything.
So are you getting this value from any backend, or these are just static?
This is RevenueCat implementation.
Okay. So when you are fetching these plans from backend, then you want to highlight a particular plan for user.
To do well, highlighting is another thing. Highlighting part I can manage. What I cannot manage is how do I assign the variable to this function. So this function to work, it needs this variable, purchase item bar, and this variable in turn is only generated once the user is actually clicking the touchable. And I don't have any way of inputting a default value for this variable, because well, I don't know how to copy that value, or how do I get it.
I think I can help.
Yeah.
Please go to that. Yes. And then can you go to the functions, custom function section of that screen?
Yeah.
So you can see there is an inline code.
Yes.
So yeah, so here you're fetching the RevenueCat offerings. So what you can do, so offerings is the variable that is storing the array of, what should I say, array of purchasable item. So you can set your item, like what you are intending to set from here. So it's an array, offerings is an array. So you can set either the first element or the last element as your default item here.
Do you mind if we do it now?
Yep. So are you going to use the first element as a default item?
Yes.
Okay. So what is this variable are you using to save it? Keep it. Can we check again?
It was called. Yeah, sorry. Oop. Purchase item var.
Okay. So is it a screen variable?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go to there. Yeah.
And it's an object. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go to that inline function. So can you see the if block after the line 20?
Yes.
So let's type set purchase. Yeah. And put a first parenthesis. Yeah. So just copy the everything in the line 20 after the parenthesis, like in the whatever is in the offerings. Yeah. Copy, put it here, and put a 0th element. No, this is square bracket. Yeah, 0. So yeah, I think that should do it.
Okay. I always forget, are we supposed to put a dot if we put 0? No. Okay.
No.
All right, amazing. If this works, it's perfect. I'm going to publish that. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
I'm
you.
done for today. Thanks.
Thank you. Roman has question.
Yeah, sorry, and it's like more high level. So what is the proper way in Draftbit to manage kind of the versions of an app? Let's say I publish this app and like there are some users or whatnot. I want to play around, change the screens, change the logic. Like I don't really want to do it on the, on the master, so to speak. Is there a way for me to branch out like in GitHub and then like do something, test it out separately, and then kind of merge it back? Like how would I go about this post-deployment lifecycle?
Yeah, I don't think like we have direct way of doing that, but yeah, you can do it using exporting the app and doing your versioning, and you want to do some additional programming and merging to the main branch, but there is no way to create branches to the builder. So, do you want to add anything? Like if there is any way to do it using builder? It just push to
Yeah.
same branch every time we create a build or hit a commit.
Yeah, I think it seems like currently representable like one way from our into the GitHub, but sound like you want to upload to GitHub and then it's sync back to the Draftbit, right, Roman?
Yeah, that can be done.
Is it?
Yeah, I think we lost Roman on audio.
Yeah.
I think, Dennis, do you have a suggestion or a question?
More like a question, so I stand by.
Then let's wait for Roman's question to be answered.
Sure. Yeah.
So Roman, are you saying something? Were you saying something before?
I think it's
It's
disconnected.
kind of we lost you.
Disconnected. Yeah.
Then let's continue with Dennis' question.
Yep. Yeah, thanks. So I have like also kind of a high level question. So my current app is online, and I wonder how big is the switch from online to the offline version of the app. In general terms, clearly I'm not asking for specific recommendations now, but overall, like your assessment, how doable it is, and maybe you can point me to the right materials or documentation on that.
So you want to create an offline version of your app, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So right now we don't have any database with the Draftbit we can use, but you can use the variables, and you can store your data once you are fetching when you are in online mode. And there is a function which you can use to identify whether the user is connected to internet or not using isOnline function in the builder. And you can, if that function returns that user is not online, you can render the data which you have stored in the variables, the device variables.
Regarding offline capabilities, I don't think we have specific documentation or tutorial for it. But this is actually falls under our expert projects and services. You can get benefit from. But I think we can also provide some high-level information for you in our docs or in tutorials. It might be some kind of challenging when you want to sync the offline data with the when it go back to online, right, Arvind?
Yes, for sure. So it will require some custom programming if you want to have the offline data synced. When you are going back online and you are fetching fresh records, you might want to override the existing saved offline data. So yeah.
So that's that's a lot of rework. Okay.
Not an easy task, we can say.
Not easy. Yeah. Okay, got it. Thanks. So then I'll keep going as it is now for some time. Thanks.
I'm not sure, by the way, if I'm sure there are best practices that experts are using, but as Arvind mentioned, we have is online and is offline, transform function, can I say,
Correct, yeah.
that you can use for sure.
Yeah, but I guess the major workload is connected to the defining the variables and syncing them up, right? When you transition from
Yes, that's
online
correct.
to offline and vice versa.
Synchronization. Yeah.
So, and it's basically like a manual work to create the variables and the depth for each variable that I want to store locally in case of offline. So that's a lot of design thinking, manual design thinking. Okay, good, got it. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Thank you for your questions. Yes, do we have any other questions? I think we have Gavin, please.
I just wanted to, I mean, it's quite a sort of general question because I haven't really started on this yet, but I'm sending push notifications to users, but they are not deep linked yet. So, and I know that's going to take some time. What I want to do is have like a notification inbox so that whenever people go into the app, they can check their notifications, and also to make the home screen more dynamic, because if there's something like unread notifications, things like that, how could I bring all the sort of notifications together to display them for a user?
Yeah, so when you are sending the notification from your backend, by default they are not getting stored in any table, but you'll have to create a logic in the backend that when you are creating notification, you'll have to have a notification table as well to store those notification along with the targeted user ID, and the by default status is like seen false. And when user click on that, a particular first of the all user can fetch the list of notifications from the backend based on their user ID, like if you have targeted for them. And if they click on any notification from the list, you'll have to change the status to seen false to seen true, and that way you can maintain the inbox for the notification list along with the statuses, whether it is read or unread.
Okay, excellent. That's good. I can start sort of putting some stuff, basic stuff together, and then I'll not be able to do all of it, but I'll I'll get some help from Rahul.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? If we don't have any,
on my command is for Gavin. I'm just trying to have a look at the day picker. It seems like it's work. It just doesn't work in the web preview. If we preview on the mobile side, iOS device, it's work well.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, even with the date and the time also. Yeah.
No, it
great
still
catch,
doesn't
Sue.
work for me. It doesn't work either in the like Android previews or on Android or iOS devices. It's still the same problem.
So maybe you can try because I try to create a fresh new screen. Maybe you can try create fresh new screen. What I'm doing is I set the minimum date to now, and I select the date time. So when I preview on iOS device, I cannot select the previous, like yesterday. Also, I cannot select the previous time. So if you create a new screen, it's work. So maybe have some issue on that screen about the add hours or maybe some problem in the screen. Yeah, maybe you can try in fresh another screen to double check it.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe just a cache issue, right?
Maybe, yeah. Or maybe the add hour causing something wrong, or maybe the time zone. Yeah, so yeah, maybe just do a self check again to make sure. Yeah, because I'm just test around, and yeah, the minimums work.
Oh, great. Thanks for the
Okay.
clarification, Siu. Great catch. Okay. I think I hope that helps, Gavin, in your case.
Well, I'm not sure. There's an awful lot of logic on that screen, so I don't really. The thought of rebuilding is very complicated.
Maybe just duplicating can work. You can try.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can certainly do that.
And also, I have another recommendation. If that doesn't work, maybe you can check when the user press on the create event button. When you press on that, you can get what the exactly selected time submit. Then if that time is like less than like is it in the past, and you just show the alert that please choose a future day or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely try that. I don't really want. I'd prefer it just to not be possible because it doesn't make sense that it's possible. But yeah, if nothing else, then I'll just do that.
Okay, that makes sense. Yes. All right. Do we have any questions? Actually, we also restructured this office hour session to answer some of our unanswered community questions, but I see that we ran out of time. Arvind, what do you think?
Yeah, if there are quick ones, let's try with them. We still have 2 more minutes, and let's see how much we can answer.
Okay. All right, that would be great. Then
Yeah.
let's go with, I think I sent you a couple of questions just before the session. You
Oh
can
yeah,
just pick one of them. Maybe action sheet hidden behind model. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think I'll require to add those. Let me try to do that quickly.
Okay. Just for a quick summary, they face while working with two different types of, we have pop-up elements called model, and also we have action sheet, right? So the issue they encountered is that whenever they try to use both at the same time, the model will always cover up the action sheet. So no matter the order they placed in their apps, layout, screen layout.
Oh yeah,
So is
so
there a kind of workaround?
Yeah, so the workaround will be we'll have to use multiple models, or we can use views, because model doesn't allow any other components or layout to be come on top of that. We can try checking that by creating, but ultimate solution is we have to move out using action sheet over the model. That is not possible. So yeah, that's the solution. But we can give it a try using two views, but I think that's not the query. If we are still want to make it work using action sheet only, so we will have to consider using the other model. We'll remove the other model and use a view instead, so that we can conditionally render them over top of each other.
So we cannot use them simultaneously. We should just choose view or model
Yes.
or action sheet.
Correct. Action sheet can't come on top of model.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So all right. I think that's all. Do you want to answer a couple of others as well?
Yeah, we can answer, but it will be difficult to do a demo. But yeah, we can try answering them.
Okay, just last one. Then the question, actually it came from Gavin, I guess. It's about the search bar. I think it's already answered though, but still, if you can
It is
provide more
answered.
insight.
Yeah, it is answered, but it's above my pay grade. I don't understand how to do it. I'm gonna have to find out how to do it. I get the sort of overall idea, but I'm not a programmer, so I don't think I can build.
I understand. I think we should kind of make a
Yeah.
quick demo for that one. What do you
Or
what do
maybe
you think,
like we
Arvin?
can. Yeah, maybe we can share a quick function that is not a very complex function. It will be a short string function in which we can, check the existing of a string within the fetched records, and we can show the filter records based on that. Will that help, Galvin?
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, I'll share that with you.
Thank you. Okay, I think we can wrap up the session then. Thank you, Arvind, for your joining. And of course, thanks, CU and Mara for their contributions as well. That was a very insightful and helpful session. And I want to thank all of our attendees for all of the great questions. Yeah, thank you for joining. And please feel free to ask your questions. And you can now submit your questions prior to each session. And keep in mind that these submitted questions will be prioritized during the session. But you're always welcome to ask your questions during the session as well. Okay, thank you, Arvind. Do you have any things to share before closing the session?
Yeah, like it was for sure an interactive session, and we have got some interesting questions and we have discussed those. I hope that that has helped to all of the attendees and users. So yeah, and as Ramisa said, you can always post the questions before the session, so that will help us create some sort of demo beforehand to save time during the office hours, and we can help with more questions during the sessions. So yeah.
Great.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's been great.
Thank you, Gavin.
I really appreciate these sessions.
Thank you. Thank you for attending. Okay, then see you in the next office hours session with experts again. See you.
See you. Thank you all.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.